Hello, my name is Adam, and I am on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. And to do that, I review mostly more traditional things that people will review, like movies and television series and computer games. But I thought that since this is my channel and I am bestowed with the gift of free will and I'm an adult and I can do what I want, I should actually talk sometimes about the things that I actually am super interested in. And one of those is bird watching. So I am going to do a series of reviews of birds. Now, every bird is a good bird. There's no bad birds. Let me get that clear. And the other thing that I want to state categorically is that I am by no means an expert bird watcher. But that's the best thing, in my opinion, about bird watching is that you can watch birds however you want. There's no rules, there's no governing bodies. There are things that you should try to avoid, like damaging the birds and scaring them and, you know, things like that. But apart from common sense things, you can watch birds with apps on your phone, with a bird guidebook, with binoculars, with the best camera you can buy. You can spend a lot of money bird watching, or it can be completely free. Like this morning, I went on a walk. The first bird watching I've done in quite some time because uh, kind of been a bit demotivated to do it with my injury. I broke my elbow, but also before that, I started this channel, so I was like putting a lot of effort in that. But I can do both, right? So I went for a walk this morning, and I did I think for me, the the best advice I could give to somebody who wanted to start bird watching is just put yourself, give yourself the opportunity to actually see things. So I went for a walk in my neighborhood, and I live kind of in the center of a very urban environment in Central Europe. And so generally, you would think that there are not a lot of birds there. But that's a great thing about birds is that they are everywhere. And there might be more species in a more rural or more natural environment, but the number of birds in the urban environment, I think, is much higher than in other places because there's a lot more food in urban environments. So, anyway, you can find a lot of different kinds of birds in urban environments. And I kind of was walking in a place where there's like a park and it starts to be like, it's still urban, but there's trees and it's kind of like neglected part because there's like gardens, so there's like this area next to the gardens that's kind of like nobody goes there. So I saw that somebody had put like a bird feeder on a tree, and then for whatever reason, it was pretty effective actually, but it was really weird. They tied like these cans of like from tinned fish to the tree, so there were like this bird feeder and like the cans of tin. And so I was walking past this and I saw some great tits, which is literally the name of the bird, great tits. And uh, these are very, very common here. Like it's the most common small bird you'll find. It's not going to be the point of my review today. I'll talk about them later, but I actually saw. So I saw the great tits, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I've seen them, whatever. And then I looked, and it was dark because it was in the morning, and I was like, that's not a great tit. The tail is too long. And I was like, oh, yeah. And that's another great thing about the idea of bird watching is that, you know, you kind of gain knowledge and you kind of trust yourself more and more. And I was like, that's a long-tailed tit. Those are two long-tailed tits. And they were. They were like these cute, tiny, small. I think they're the smallest tit species. And tit, which is funny in any language, it doesn't actually mean what you think it means. It comes from the French word petite. So the fact that there's a small-tailed tit is basically like petite tail petite, you know. So it's like this little cute ball. So I saw that, and I was like, oh, and I watched until they flew away. I was like, oh, that's nice. And then I kept on walking in this like kind of this area that was wooded between these gardens and a train track. And because it's like winter, and this is great advice too. I think you should start bird watching now because the if especially if you're in the northern hemisphere because the temperature will get warmer and the birds will start to think about babies and they're more visible because they're courting, but also there's less leaves in the trees so you can see them better. But anyway, I was walking on this path and it was like frozen and I nearly fell and that would give me a lot of excitement. But I was walking on this path and I saw and was like, is that a dog? And I was like, no, it's not a dog, it's a fox. I have seen in my life maybe like a fox in the wild 3 times. And two of them were from cars, like just noticing them hopping along at night. But this was like the first time I've actually seen a fox up close, although it was running away from me. But it's crazy. Like, and and I thought maybe it was a cat or a dog, but it moved in a different way. Like it moved in a fox-like way. I can't really explain more, but like in the middle of an urban environment, seeing a fox like that is crazy, very crazy. I know if you live in England, it's probably very common to see foxes, but here, not very common to see a fox. So that's that's another great thing about bird watching. You get to experience a lot of different things. You see nature that so we tend to focus on our human problems and our human civilization, but there are literal worlds that are going on that happen near us but have nothing to do with us generally. And I think birds are like a perfect example. Like they're everywhere and they might take our food or they might not, but generally what's going on in their lives is more connected to things we have no idea about. Yeah, anyway, so the first bird I'm going to review for this series is called the rook. And this is what is known as a gregarious species, and that just means they like other rooks. They live together, and they're not necessarily violent birds. I think you have this thing where they are, they're a bigger animal, so they don't need to do these like aggressive displays. But yeah, so they're big and they live in these groups, and they also have like these rookeries that they go to at night, or and their flocks can get like really large in the winter. They can have like thousands of members of birds in these flocks. They are kind of black birds and their beaks are have no feathers on them. They're kind of like gothic, very gothic. I will put like a picture here, and generally when I'm talking, maybe it will be that direction. When I'm talking over here, this is a rook for the duration of the video. That's my picture. And a friend of mine, when she found out that I liked bird watching, she gave me an old camera, which is really nice. And yeah, that's another way you can watch birds. But yeah, so they live generally from Western Europe until Eastern Siberia. So they're very common in Europe. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll look at their their southern range. Um, yeah, basically it's like Middle Europe, Central Asia kind of thing. And they're a member of the corvid family, and they can solve simple problems. And probably they have the same kind of social structure that other corvids have. So, corvid is a crow, so they're one of the smarter birds. They're not the most photogenic bird unless you like gothic birds, and I like gothic birds, so it's it's not a problem for me. And another thing, they have this weird, maybe not weird, but they have this relationship with jackdaws. So jackdaws are a much smaller bird, which are also a member of the corvid family. And so they will like be together. They'll have like social relationships between each other. Generally, their diet consists of what does their diet consist of? Generally, mostly like plant matter, and they use their long beaks to like look in the litter for leaf litter and stuff for nuts and vegetables and other things, but they also eat insects and larvae and worms, small mammals, and small birds. So I wonder if they're actually hunting the birds, or if, for example, some chick falls down during the fledging season, if they will actually eat the bird. Yeah. Okay. And one thing, if you're not interested in birding, I might make a public announcement about fledglings. So, in the spring, so in about a few months' time, there's always these reports of people who find these birds, and they think that the bird is like, he's been pushed out of his nest and it's like this accident and you have to protect it. What happens is that can happen. Like a baby bird could be pushed out of the nest. And sometimes it's the actual parents who do that because they don't have enough energy to support that many chicks. So they'll just push a chick out of the nest, and the chick will be too young to fend for itself, and then it will die, which is sad, but it's a part of nature. But what I'm talking about is older birds. So when the there will be a point where a bird fledges, and what that is that the parents believe that the baby bird is old enough to take care of itself, so they will push it out of the nest, and the bird will just stay on the ground around the nest area for a few days, and the parents will be looking at the baby. So if you see something like this, if you see like a small bird with feathers, they probably can fly. They're just not doing it yet. They will be ready to do that soon. And I don't know. I think like even if you see a chick, like a really baby chick without developed feathers, I don't think that you should rescue it unless you are a trained bird rescuer, because as I said, it is part of nature, and unless you can find somebody to take care of it, you don't know what you're doing. So I would just leave it there to die. I know that's sad and dramatic, but there are better things you can do if you love birds to protect them than try to rescue every baby bird. One would be to keep your cats inside, or if you need to have your cat outside, supervise your cat when it's outside. Watch what it's doing. I don't like some people put like bells on their cats so that the bell will warn the birds, but the bells actually, like I saw some study once where the cats were able to kind of overcome the effect of the bell to hunt, because cats are like really great hunters, and they have devastated species of birds and small mammals. So if you care about nature, you should keep an eye on your cats. That doesn't mean that they should never go outside, but like, why not go outside with them? Because also, there's lots of problems. Like, people say, oh, cats need to be free, they need to run wild and stuff. But generally, if you have an outside cat, they they live much shorter lives because of accidents, because of fights with other cats, you know, other predators like foxes and coyotes in certain places will eat cats. So, you know, by supervision outdoors of your cat, then you are like actually protecting nature and protecting your cat, which I think we would all agree is great because cats are also really cool and interesting animals. Yeah, so I think I got on my soapbox anyway, but this is a rook. You can find it in Europe and in Central Asia. Uh, it's really easy to find if you ever come here and you are, from North America and you want to do some birding. Start in a city because you'll find a lot of interesting birds. All right. If you like what I do, please give me a subscription. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of March. If you like this content, please leave your thoughts about bird watching and or rooks in the comment section. I don't have any good stories about rooks. They're just very common presence in my life, and I think they would be a sadder experience without them, especially in the winter. All right, thanks. Bye bye.